Welcome to the How Did Show, where interesting people answer the questions, how did I get here? And how in the hell did I get here? With your host, Donovan Corneets.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me for another great episode of the How Did Show. And we got a real special one for you this time. All right, so check it out. My guest today is a 4-time Emmy Award-winning film director, photographer, and composer. He went from being homeless to founding Your Mom's House Incorporated, which is an amazing media production company. He's also been featured in Black Enterprise Magazine's Top 100 Modern Men of Distinction. I mean, come on now. Now, his work has been featured on local and national news programs and has been viewed by over 300 million people in over 60 countries. So y'all, show some love for my dog, Emmai Alaquiva.
What's up, everybody? What's up with the interwebs? Interwebs in the house.
In the
What's up, B?
baby. What's going on, man? I'm doing great, man. How are you feeling this evening?
Oh, man, I'm feeling really Gucci gangs all the way Gucci. You know what I mean?
I love it, bro.
Doing what I love, man. Trying to capture the human spirit in ways that it hasn't been captured before. And, allowing that to be some great therapy, man, for a lot of folks, man. So glad to be here on your show. You could have chose anybody, but today you chose me, man. I appreciate
Absolutely,
it.
Man. And that was not even the question. I've been wanting you on the show since I started it. I'm glad we could make it work. You and I go way back, bro. We go way back. Somewhere around here, I have your business card for Your Mom's House somewhere from that radio summit back in LA. Talking 15 years ago or something like that, bro. So
that was that in 2000.
It was somewhere around 2006, somewhere around there.
Was it 2004 or 2006 or something?
Yeah,
like that?
Somewhere around there. 2006.
I started at the radio station in 2002, and then I think maybe my second or third year, I was out at the
summit.
I was out at the summit, man. Staying at the Lowe's Hotel on Highland Avenue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. For sure, man. Took it way back. But we've kept in touch all this time. And man, I've just seen meteoric growth from you, man. And it's just been amazing. So I'm really glad to have you on here. It's an honor to have you on the show. But let's get right into it, baby. This is the How Did Show. And so the first question is you to answer the question. I mean, is you answering the question, how did I get here? So let everyone know, how did you get here?
Well, how I got here to where I am today was, first of all, a lot of trials, tribulations, mentorships, tough times. When I was about 13, I was, being real super duper hard headed out here in these streets. I thought drug dealers were the super duper, were the heroes, if you will.
Right.
So, around the age of 13, my mom was working 2 jobs, father wasn't, in the household, he was around, but he wasn't in the household. But, I tried to sell drugs. When I was 13, I thought I was that dude out here on the Blizzok, you know what I mean? Straight gangster, right? And my first day that I tried to sell drugs, I was at a Kentucky Fried Chicken, near a Kentucky Fried Chicken parking lot, and a truck pulls up, and a guy gets out and says, when he doesn't get out, he talks through the window and says, "Hey, you have anything on you?" And I said, "Yeah, I got something on you. What's up?" You know what I mean? I'm excited to make my drug deal and things of that nature.
First day
so
he
pulled over to the Kentucky Fried Chicken and parking lot, and he got out the driver's side and came behind the truck. And I mean, this dude just stuck a gun straight to my head. I mean, just right here at my temple, and said, "Give me all that you got." Here I am, 13, young black male, sitting here peeing in my shorts. I don't know what the heck happened. I thought, I didn't really predict this. And, I dropped my bike. I gave him everything in my head, and I just bolted. I went to my cousin's house and, told him I got robbed and somebody put a gun to my head. And, it was at that moment that, of course, that was the first day and the last day that I sold drugs, right? And, of course, I was adolescent, I was full of what is my path? Where do I go? How do I find myself? But that wasn't it. So when I put that down, I started to listen to hip hop, and De La Soul was one of the newer groups that wasn't like NWA or wasn't like, the hardcore
3
gangsters.
Feet High and Rising.
Yeah, 3 Feet High and Rising. Like that album resonated with me because, I found myself out of place in a lot of instances, but I also recognized that, wow, here's, plug one, plug two, Prince Paul doing beats and things of that nature. And I began to listen to plug two and me, myself, and I began to connect with hip hop. So hip hop was always in my back pocket, and it helped me sort of get through some crucial times in my life. But around 96, 97, my sister was diagnosed with HIV. And, that was at a time where it was just like, what is going on? Like, nobody knows the information about HIV. Nobody knows how to orbit around it because it's brand new. There's so many things that, was in the media. So it was, a lot of people didn't know how to shape around it. So, I began to witness, people, shun my sister, push her to the side, not pay attention to her, scared to go around her and things of that nature. But me as her younger brother, I started to see her sort of wither away, to the point where, she was so weak that she was in the living room. And every time I came back from school, I literally had to step over her because she was too weak to get out of the living room. So, that really hit me a little bit harder than anything.
Of course, yeah.
So, my sister, she transitioned in 97, and she left by 2 children, my 2 nieces who were 3 and 5 at the time. So having to tell them that, their mother is no longer with us, and having to take on that father role, that parent role, along with my mother, it put a lot on me at a young age that I didn't know how to process. And in a lot of situations, especially back in that day, a lot of people didn't understand about mental health and how we wrap around mental health as a Black family, right? We were always told to tough it up. You got this, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Real men don't cry. Suck it up, man. Stop being a sucker. So I did that, and I did that for so long that I found myself in a deep depression, because I couldn't handle all of the things that were thrown at me in life. And I didn't have a blueprint on how to deal with all of this, and not having positive, a fatherhood figure that was in my life 24 hours. I didn't know how to juggle these things. So, it rendered me homeless. Right. I was, on the streets of Pittsburgh, sleeping on crevices and on streets, and going to food kitchens and everything like that. And this is in my 20s, until, I realized that, I had to call my mom, and I one day, after something, pretty powerful happened to me, I called my mom on a payphone, and I'm like, "Hey mom, I've been homeless. Can I sleep on your couch? Can I sleep in the basement? Like, can I come back home?" And she said, "Yeah, sure. No problem at all. Come on back home. It shouldn't have taken you this long.
Right.
That's what you get for being prideful and thinking that you all tough and you can do everything by yourself." So as I began to sleep on, my mom's couch daily, and, when my mother would have company, I would actually hide in her basement and wait for her company to leave, because I was just dealing with so much. And then my mother, who worked at the post office, she said, "I can get you a job for a 6-month casual as a mailman." And I said, "Okay, I'll take the job." So I took that position as a mailman for 6 months. And then over that 6 months, I began to come up with a master plan, if you will, on how I was going to get out of this situation, because I was not going to be a victim of the circumstances that I put in place from the decisions and the directions that I took. So over that 6 months, I came up with a plan. And if you know about casual positions, you only work for 6 months, and then they let you go. Okay. So the miracle of God is that on that last day that I was working at the post office, my mother knew someone who worked at a location at another post office who received mail from someone who was at a radio station.
Oh, wow.
And he had a P.O. box there, and he would always get his mail. And one day, you know, my mom's friend was like, hey, listen, I know somebody who would love to get into radio or music. Do you have a position? And he said, sure, have him call me. So when I called him, his name was John Hill. I'll never forget. May his soul rest in peace. I called him and he said, come on in for an interview. We might have a position at a radio station as a Tom Joyner morning show producer.
Wow. Okay.
So I would have to get up at
in.
I would have to get up at 5 a.m. I would have to run the board, press the buttons, turn the satellite on, and all that other stuff. So when I did that, I fell in love with radio because I ended up getting the position, and I would sleep in between the radio station and my mom's house. And then I worked there as a Tom Joyner morning show producer. I ended up getting a second job with a guy named Justin Strong at a lounge. And I used to sweep up the cigarette butts. I used to clean the bathrooms, all while still not having a home. So when I worked at the lounge at nighttime and worked at the WURP 1550 AM in the daytime, I saved money until I thought it was a great time to get studio space upstairs from the lounge area. So it was 300 square feet of space. I said, you know what? I'm going to rent some equipment and I'm going to open up a studio. I opened up a studio in 2001 out of 300 square feet of space. I lived in the studio for 6 months until I busted my butt until the urban radio station found out about me, offered me a position as production director for 3 radio stations in the urban area. I started in 2002, opened a recording studio, hired some individuals, ended up getting an apartment, opened my full service recording studio. I put together a nonprofit arts education program, hired my first employee in 2005, won my first Emmy in 2008, and just literally started building from there, 300 to 600, 600 to 900, 900 to 1200, and began to start to do so many creative things around the neighborhood that Your Mom's House ended up being one of the premier digital media agencies in Western Pennsylvania. And this was all from a dream and all from sort of recalibrating my life as a young Black man, recognizing what my potential was, and also leaning on the shoulders of great mentors and great people that believed in my dream and believed in me, because I would not be here without them. And we would not be in a place that we are as far as the digital media agency, the nonprofit arts education program, serving on the Pennsylvania Council on the Arts under Governor Tom Wolf here in the city of Pennsylvania, having worked on the Google year-end video that comes out every single year, being one of the distributing directors, 4 Emmys later. It just underscores how, you know, you got to believe in yourself and you have to allow others to believe in yourself, and, you know, it'll all come together. So that's how I got here, man.
Man, that is an incredible story. And as long as we've known each other, like, obviously I never knew that deep into your story. And that's, like you said, I mean, that's just a testament to having a plan, working that plan, being patient, but also persistent, and working your tail off in the midst of failures and setbacks, and you just keep grinding it out. So that's just amazing, man. Round of applause, like real quick for what you've accomplished, man. That's really great.
That's what it is, you know?
It is what it is. So I got to ask you, man, so how did you come up with the name Your Mom's House? Where did that come from? How did you decide on that?
Yes. So Your Mom's House, it came from, I was in a group called Pencils in a Cup. And it was 3 of us, Akil and Super C, and we had a rap group in which back in the early 90s, there wasn't that many rap groups, right? And one day, one of my mentors, who I consider like a father figure for me today, his name's Chris Moore, he got a phone call from one of his associates requesting if he knew any hip hop bands that could do a PSA for PBS.
Okay.
So he said, yes, I know Emmai. He's doing some great things. I was like 16, 17 at the time. So we got to do a PSA called Stay in School, Get a Mind of Your Own. It's on YouTube now. If you put in Emmai Alaquiva and Get a Mind of Your Own, you'll see when I was 16 out here bussing, dropping bars. You know what I'm saying? On the interwebs. So when we did that, the money that I got from that, I saved up for some recording studio equipment. And to help supplement that income, I started cutting grass and shoveling snow in the winter. Okay. So I saved up enough money to start getting this equipment that I used to see my good friend today. His name's Steve Butter Anderson. He's a multi-platinum Emmy Award-winning producer who produces for the Proud Family now. He produces, he does music for That's So Raven. He done 4 songs on Aaliyah's last album. He produced Been There, Done That by Dr. Dre. He's one of my childhood friends. Okay. And the equipment that he had, I was so impressed and inspired by him that I wanted that same equipment. So eventually I saved up my money, got that, and started making music around the neighborhood. So the kids in my neighborhood would like laugh and joke. That's when we had landlines. They would like call the house and be like, yo, what's up? I'm trying to get in your mom's house. What's going on? Boom. I'm trying to record vocals. When can I get in your mom's house? So it became this name that was synonymous with paying homage to our homes and sort of the brick and mortar that we first discover our talents and discover who we are. So it's paying homage to my mom to say, my mom, she busted her butt as a single parent, single Black woman raising a Black man. So I just kept it. I always wanted to make sure that my mom always knew that, how much she was appreciated for allowing me to discover who I was right in the house, regardless of how loud the volume was. So your mom's house is, everybody laughed and said the name would never work. But here we are, decades later, your mom's house is one of the premier digital media agencies globally.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's dope. I always wondered about that, about the name, because it is very unique, but hey, it works. It sticks with you. It's memorable. So I love it, man. And really quick, so how did you transition from radio and music to photography, to videography, to directing, and being the all-encompassing agency that you're running today? Yes,
great question. So, of course, with my roots with WURP 1550 AM, going from AM to FM to producing that, I had a full love of radio. I love radio. I'll forever love radio. Even the way I edit today is almost like an image. Is a radio production director, how it does imaging. That's sort of how I cater my storytelling. So, falling in love in hip hop back in the day, I always loved telling stories. So, I was an MC, I was a rapper, I told stories that way. I was, a production director. I told stories through sonic sound, and Whammo 106.7 FM was going out of business during the 2008, the crash, the economic crash. Along with that, a lot of companies and organizations found that to be an opportunity to exit out. So we were hit hard, and 35 plus of us were all called for a meeting at 4 p.m. on a Friday. Anytime executives call a meeting on Friday at 4 o'clock, something's up. So they called a meeting at 4 o'clock, and then, someone came in and said, hey, listen, it's been a great run. We'd like to thank you all for your services, but you have 15 minutes to vacate the premises, and we have security here to assist with that journey. So, you know,
You got to get beep out.
Here's the thing. From 2002 to 2009, I had 7 years of my life that I had to part ways with in 15 minutes, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like 15 minutes to consolidate 7 years of your life.
Yeah.
Good thing I was very keen on backup drives because I backed up all my data, all my imaging, everything I produced, everything. But a lot of people weren't fortunate enough to do that. So with that, we had 15 minutes to get it. So I walk out with a cardboard box. And you know, I told my girlfriend at the time, I said, listen, I got to change my life. I got to repivot again. So good thing I had my studio, but I prayed about it and I said, you know what? I'm never going to work for anybody else ever again. I never want someone to have that much agency,
that much power over it. Yeah.
That much power over the trajectory of my life. Right. That was a kerfuffle that I never want to experience again. So when they let us go in 2009, I told myself I'll never look back. So that's when I put my shoes on. You know, I put my nice little hoodie, and I just said, let's get it. So with that being said, I said, let me dive into my dream and give my dream 40 to 60 hours a week, and let's see what happens. That's what I told myself, D. I said, if I worked 40 to 50 hours for that organization,
you can do it for
you.
you.
What if I did it for myself? What if I said, let me invest in myself 40 to 60 hours? If it doesn't work within this year, I'll go back to corporate. I'll get a job. I'll get a suit, all that stuff and everything. But it was until then that I jumped off the cliff and allowed faith to be my parachute and allow me to land where I needed to land, right? So that's what got me into going from recording to purchasing a camera at Best Buy in New York City on 23rd Street. I'll never forget. I bought this Canon 7D. Okay. And I wanted to start to do videos for my arts education program, Hip-Hop On L.O.C.K, because I couldn't really afford to pay, you know, all these film directors to shoot these little videos for my students. So I just grabbed the camera myself and literally I took it out the box. I didn't read any instructions. I barely knew how to screw the lens on, but I said, you know what? I will do my damnness to figure this out. Right. So when I started to take shots and start to do video, I just used my brain in the way I process production and radio imaging. Right. I said, let me apply radio imaging to the way we edit video. And I married my love for music with my love for putting images and pieces together. So the music and the video in the film became a marriage, and it was cohesive and it made sense. It was almost like organized confusion. Right. It was almost like a DJ meets John Basquiat, where there's that rhythmic art to it. So that's how I got into it. People started to find out, you know, that I did these little videos for my arts education program. Organizations, nonprofits started to say, hey, listen, if you're doing that, can you do this for our company? Do you mind shooting this video? And then I started shooting all over Western Pennsylvania until my national opportunity came April 19th and 20th of 2012.
Say you got it down to the day.
Yes. Amir Questlove Thomas gave me an opportunity to film a program that was at BAM, the Brooklyn Academy of Music. It was called Shuffle Culture. Okay. I filmed his event, Shuffle Culture, and I caught the megabus up from Pittsburgh. I shot that, and then on the Megabus on the way back, I edited it for him. And then when I got back home, I sent it to Questlove, and Questlove was like, "Yo, this is pretty dope, but I don't believe that you must have did this on an accident." So he called me a couple weeks later, and Questlove was like, "Hey, listen, I know you did Shuffle Culture for me. I can't pay you, but I want you to direct the Roots Picnic 2012. I want you to direct this year's picnic." He said, "I don't got no money because I still don't believe, that you really know what you're doing.
I won't pay you because I think you."
Yeah, I think maybe you might have had somebody
got
else
lucky or something.
Yeah. So I said, "I'll do it for free. Just pay for our lodging." He did that, and I shot and directed the Roots Picnic of 2012, and he was so impressed. He said, "I'll rock with you from here on out. You got me. I'll pay you." And because of that relationship with Questlove, I have been able to work with so many incredible people around the globe from that one opportunity that he gave me. And the fact that I wasn't money hungry, I wasn't like, "No, I don't want to do it because you ain't paying for me." I recognize the equity in a different area than finances.
For sure.
And that's what we have to do sometimes as entrepreneurs and as risk takers who are artists. So I had the foresight to recognize where the equity lied in our relationship versus money. And I've been working with the Roots. They've been one of my top clients for 10 years now. And what's amazing, which brings us here, is that April 4th through the 8th, I'll be directing Black Thought's masterclass at Carnegie Hall in New York City.
Look at that, full circle, man. That is dope. Look, man, I'm going to tell you, like, there's so many elements of your story that resonate with me because of just like some parallels, right? And not to get too much into it, but I had the Friday meeting, and mine was in spring of 2010 though. And they did it at about 11 a.m. though. I didn't make it till 4. It was about 11 a.m. Friday meeting. The CEO called the meeting and comes in, tears coming down his face. He's like, "Oh, snap." And at least we had a couple hours to get out. We had more than 15 minutes. We had about 2-3 hours. But I'm gonna tell you what was crazy. So they had owed us overtime because we were really cranking. I mean, we were doing like 60-hour weeks, like 3-4 weeks in a row, trying to meet this deadline for a big client. But then all of the investors ended up pulling out of the company, so they had to lay everybody off except for a core group just to fulfill their contracts, right?
Wow.
So they're like, everybody, sorry, we gotta fire everybody except these people. Basically, like the department heads was all that was left. And you can wait in line. We got your last check. However, because of all the overtime, it's more than we can pay you. We're gonna have to pay you the rest of the check later. We'll give you I think it was like 20% of what we were owed.
Wow.
We go through, and because I talked to my wife and I was like, venting with her, she brought her SUV over so that I could load up my desk and all this stuff. I didn't jump in line. I was like, "Well, why? What's the rush? Like, I'm be stuck in line with everybody else." So by the time I got in line to get my check, there was only 2 people behind me. I was at the end of the line, right? I go to get my check from the CFO, look at my check. The dude that was in front of me said, "Hey, this check isn't signed." And the guy was like, "Oh, crap." He's like, "We forgot to sign the checks." So everybody that had gone through me, you're talking like 120, 140 people, nobody's check was signed by the CFO. I was like, "Well, since I'm here, go ahead and hit mine up and we're going straight to the bank," right? So just think about that, right? So that's how my situation started. Same thing. I was like, well, I've been doing this VO thing for about 5 years on the side. My oldest was 6 months old at the time. It's like, all right, let's try and make this happen right now. If I can't do it, same thing. I was like, I'll work at Walmart, Target, whatever I got to do. I'll make it happen. But I'm about to commit to making this. And I swear to you, man, I did probably 16-hour days in front of a computer, researching, learning, networking, building a contact list one by one, region by region, state by state, like all day while watching a 6-month-old, baby when my wife was working. And that's what it took, man. And I did a lot of stuff for free or for real cheap because I saw the value and the opportunity that was coming from it. Now, there's a lot of stuff I ain't doing for free now. I paid
No,
those dues.
not at all. You
I
already
paid
know.
those dues. But to come up, I had to humble myself and say, I need them more than they need me. So I'm going to humble myself and get that opportunity, right?
Yes.
And I think that's key for people to understand things like working the second job and sweeping up cigarette butts and doing things for free, just realizing that there had to be equity in what you were building, right? And that is so huge because, yeah, everybody's so like financially motivated and focused on just money. Now you got to pay me, you're going to pay me. And you're missing out on a lot because, yeah, there are people that are like, yo, I don't know if this is really you. I don't know if you can handle the pressure. I don't know if you can really do what you're saying you can do. So why am I going to risk myself, right? But once you proved it, look at how many more dividends is paid since then. So yeah, man, I just wanted to tell that story really quick because I saw so many parallels when you're telling me about the Friday meeting. Like, damn, I had a Friday meeting too.
Listen, Friday meetings, man, they crazy.
Yeah, man, you don't want those Friday meetings. Well, cool, man. Thank you so much for telling me that story.
Yeah.
All those stories, actually, it's really great. But now we're going to transition and spin the wheel of what? Let's get it. So what we're going to do is we're going to spin this.
Spent up.
Yeah, we're going to get this wheel spinning. And so whatever it lands on, I'm going to ask you a question. You just got to answer it honestly, all right?
Let's go. We'll answer it honestly. Let's go. Can I even see that thing?
World record. All right.
Yes.
So what this question is, if there was something that you could set a world record in, what would it be?
I would say,
and it could be something silly. It doesn't have to be like, oh, actually, it would be about like, it could be something, even if it's silly.
Yeah, I think the world record that I would want to set is how many centipedes I can do. Like breakdancing back in the day was like that was me, man. Like real. And then like when I would watch TV shows and like I would watch Breaking or Crush Groove, Beat Street. You know what I'm saying? Yes.
Body moving.
They could do all the breakdance moves in all the history of American life. But when they hit the centipede, bro.
Oh, yeah, that worm action going.
Yo, with the worm joint, yo.
Yeah.
Yo, I would love, long as I can get a rug, like a real cushioned rug.
Like, let me get a mat though. Like my knees and my knees can't handle no.
Yeah, let me get some of that. Long as I get that, like I swear I could probably bust 1,000 centipedes, man.
Next time
centipedes,
the next time we're in the same place,
yes,
you got to give me like 5, at least 5 in a row. Like,
I know that
should be.
I'm gonna do 5, but that last one, I'm gonna go way up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go way up,
and then like stand up. That's how I want you to like and then stand up for it. Oh my goodness,
that's it, man. You got me, man. But
I got it on video. I
want to be the centipede world record.
I can honestly say I was not expecting that, but I love that answer. That is so dope. That is so hip hop of an answer. That's dope. All right, cool. So that brings us to the second half of the How Did Show. And that's where you answer the question, how in the hell did I get here? So this is a story about a situation, an event, something that you were a part of that maybe took you out of your comfort zone or just really was something you weren't expecting. So what would be your answer to a situation that made you say, Emmai, how in the hell did I get here?
All right, so I was working on a project for diversity and inclusion for the Candy Castleberry, who's one of my mentors. She was a head of a health plan here in Pittsburgh. So part of diversity and inclusion, they wanted to check out some schools around the country that really cater to diversity and inclusion way before diversity and inclusion was like America's buzzword.
Right.
Now it's America's buzzword, but way back when, some of the groundbreakers in the diversity space was Candy Castleberry, who is now the head of diversity for Amazon globally. So she's pretty dope. You got to Google her.
Okay.
So Candy said, hey, Emmai, we want you to do a story on this school in Washington, D.C. So we're like, okay, you know, we could go down there and do a story on this school. What's the name of the school? And it was like, you know, it's the School for Diversity and Inclusion, you know, named after Dr. Maya Angelou. And,
Okay.
you know, it's nothing. It's just a school in DC. So we go down and we produce this video project for the folks at this school. And then Candy calls me after we finish it. She calls me about a month later and says, hey, listen, do you want to come to DC with me because they're going to premiere the video at that school? So I said, sure, no problem at all. Let's do it. So we go down and we premiere this video. And then after the video shows at this place in Washington, DC, someone comes up to me and says, hello, excuse me, is your name Emmai? I said, yes, my name is Emmai. Did you do that? Did you happen to do that video? And I said, yeah, I did the video. Is there something I can help out with? Was something wrong?
Right.
She said, no, actually, can you come with me if you have a second? Of course, I looked her up and down. I looked her up and down, so I made sure she was good. So I was like, all right, cool. So she takes me over to this balcony, and who's sitting there, having just watched the video and asked the lady to come get me, was Dr. Maya Angelou.
What? Wow.
Dr. Maya Angelou, after the video played, she said, let me know whoever did this video. I want to meet them. So we met Dr. Maya Angelou, but she had to go. So I followed her out to her tour bus, and she said, Emmai, I promise you, I don't have a lot of time right now, but I'm going to tell you this right now. And I don't tell many people this. I want to invite you to my home.
Wow.
In Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Okay.
She said, I promise you, I'll get you there. A couple weeks later, I'm on the plane flying down to NC to Dr. Legendary, iconic Dr. Maya Angelou's house. I pull up, yellow roses in her yard, picket fence, huge house, beautiful. I go into her living room. You know, she even, look, here's the thing. She even asked me, how do I properly say your name? And I told her, and the way she said my name, bro.
Give you chills. Yeah, man.
So I'm sitting here working on a film with Dr. Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
I'm directing Dr. Maya Angelou for a film that talks about diversity and inclusion. And this was years before that was even funky fresh. She was ahead of the game. I mean, man. You know, and then she gave us a tour of all the awards that she won. She took me to her backyard, all up and down around her house. She gave us a tour of her house. She even showed me a Rolls Royce that Tyler Perry bought her for her birthday that she never drove.
It was on display.
D, how the hell did I get here?
That's definitely a good time to ask that question.
Listen, D.
Homeless to directing Dr. Maya Angelou.
Dr. Maya Angelou? Like, are you kidding me? That is a how the hell did I get here? Because I even used her powder room, and I was looking in the mirror in her powder room, like I'm in Dr. Maya Angelou's house.
Yeah, in the crib.
Like with trophies, statues, awards, pictures of Oprah, pictures of the Clintons, pictures with her and like all these big time folks, Martin Luther King, you name it.
And you just in the crib.
So that is, to answer your question, that was a moment that changed my whole entire life, that made me question myself, how the hell did I get here?
No, that's a great story, man. And that's incredible. I can only imagine what that experience was like. And it's funny because couple of connections. First of all, my wife and I actually got married in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, because she went to Wake Forest University, where Maya Angelou actually did the graduation commencement address, like for her graduation. So that's that first connection. And actually, I want to say 2 episodes ago, 2 or 3 episodes ago, I actually had a buddy of mine on here, and his hidden talent was that he does a spot on Dr. Maya Angelou impersonation. It's like, oh wow, like ridiculously good. You have to check that out. But no, man, that is incredible. Like, so that makes me think of a really quick question. Has there, obviously you've worked with a lot of amazing people, right? A lot of talented individuals, people at different levels of success. Has there ever been a time you were starstruck other than being with Dr. Maya Angelou?
Well, honestly, people always ask, what was your highest point? And it was Dr. Maya Angelou.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's how iconic this woman is. When it was time to leave her house, I said, until we meet again, Dr. Maya Angelou, thank you so much for everything. I don't know why I was so blown away by this, but as I was leaving, she said, Mr. Alaquiva, go well.
You're like, I don't even know I don't know how to take it, but I love it.
No, I'm like,
did she just like do a mind game on me?
No. Listen, I'm like, who the hell says go well?
Yeah.
I never heard that.
As a first for me.
That day, and I've never heard it after.
Yeah. No,
Mr. Alaquiva, go well.
You're like,
so
yes,
when you talk,
ma'am, I will.
No, right, yo. I was like,
I absolutely will.
No, I'm sitting here getting in the, walking out the house. I'm like, damn, like
how do you respond to that though? Like, go well, like, you too.
How do you respond to go well?
I shall.
You know what I mean? Like at some of my speaking engagements, like I had to steal that. Thanks for having me. Go well.
Everybody not just head explodes.
Not peace out, not deuces, not what's
all right,
up,
y'all. Be easy.
Peace out, my fam. She said go well. So the reason why
one tear just comes out of your eye, like
yo.
Well.
Yeah. And the reason why I shared that is because that's a part of being starstruck from Dr. Maya Angelou. And I worked with I've worked with everybody, Kanye, Beyonce, 50, you name it, Harry Belafonte. The list just goes on. Wiz, you name it. I worked with them all, but none of them had more of an impact on me and my being than Dr. Maya Angelou. And
can't argue with that, bro.
Yeah, I wanted to do a poetry album with her, but of course she transitioned, some time ago. But that was one of my goals, was to produce a poetry album of her in which I produced music under her poetry.
Ooh, but that would have been fire, man.
That would have been fire, but unfortunately, her health, took a turn for the worse, and we just never really had a chance to catch back up. But that was one of the most amazing experiences.
Man, I'm still shook off of Go Well. I'm like, man, I don't even know.
Go Well, bro.
And then with her voice, right? She has such a powerful.
Yeah.
Go well. I'm like, oh snap. I'll go well, I promise, for the rest of my life.
Listen, I'm going well.
I'm still going well. Yeah.
I'm still going
man, well. That is an incredible story. Thank you so much for sharing that, because that really that's an amazing how in the hell did I get here story. So yeah, man, we're about to wrap this thing up, but really quick, I hope you've enjoyed being on the show with me, man. It's been an honor talking with you, man. I'm so glad we were able to make it work. So let the people know where they can find you online, social media, and anything you got going on that you can plug for people to check out.
Absolutely. If you can, hit me up on, the interwebs. I'm on Instagram, Emmai _Alaquiva. That's EMMAI_ALAQUIVA. You could also visit me on my website, emmaialaquiva.com, OpticVoices.org for some of my social justice photography. YourMomsHouse.com is the digital media agency that I spoke of. Hit me on Twitter, TikTok, you name it. Google me. Hit me on a DM if you want to connect on something. Right. If you have a question or something like that, DM me. Long as it's respectful, I respond relatively quick and relatively easy. And, last but not least, go well.
I mean, there's nothing else I can say. Go well. That's it. Hashtag go well and drop the mic. Well, look, man, Emmai, thank you so much for joining me, man. Like I said, yes, man, I really had a good time talking with you. And to everyone out there, be sure to check out all the other episodes of the How Did Show. And definitely stay tuned for the next one. Until then, like he said, man, go well.
Go well. Peace.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me and having some fun as we interview some really, really interesting people. So go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, and be on the lookout for more episodes of The How Did Show.